everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm actually sitting at my writing corner once more, which I hadn't done in quite a while, but sitting here reminds me of why I love working here so much, so this video might actually inspire me to work here again. I'm here today because I recently decided to do a collab with the amazing Niki Rose. Her channel will be down below and also linked somewhere here, and I just thought it'd be a great idea if me and Niki made up a teen author tag, since there isn't a lot of teen authors on AuthorTube that I can find anyway. I know like a handful on AuthorTube and I know a little bit more on Discord, but other than that there aren't many teen authors. I thought if we made a tag just for teen authors, whether they want to put in their AuthorTube channel or just answer it in the comments or whatever, then you know, that would be fun. We came up with 12 questions for teen authors, and since we're both teen authors, we'll be answering them. Here is the teen author tag. This is an original tag. Me and Niki both came up with the questions, so yeah, I hope you enjoy. Let me know what your answers would be for these questions if you're a teen author, or if you're just an author that doesn't have to be a teen, you can still answer these. I'd still be interested to know your responses to some of these questions. So yeah, without any more, let's get to the teen author tag. The first question is, what brought you to the writing community? I actually used to just write for fun. I used to write since I was really little. I started taking it more seriously when I was 13. I discovered something called AuthorTube after looking up a review for one of the books I really liked, and that led me to stumble upon a bunch of different booktube channels, and some of these booktube channels actually did writing videos, and I found myself really enjoying them because once again I discovered booktube when I was just getting into writing properly, professionally myself. That interested me, and I then googled like writing a novel vlog or writing a book, and that is where I stumbled upon AuthorTube. My love for storytelling and my love for books brought me to the writing community, I would say. Question 2 is, how long have you been writing? I already answered this a little bit in the first part of the question, and to answer it simply again, I've been writing since I was little. I've always loved storytelling. My first proper story I remember myself writing, or my first like storybook, child book, the first story I ever remember writing from start to finish was when I was 8 years old, and it was a story called Emily. But if we were thinking about when I properly started writing, so when I started taking it more seriously, when I started coming up with actual plots and characters and settings, I was 13 years old when I first started writing like that. Question 3 is, what sort of opinions have you heard as a teen writer? How have they shaped you? I heard a lot about how, because I'm a teen or a teenager, that this actually came from one of my friends, which, I mean, it hurt me at the time, but I can see where they were coming from. And it is because I'm a teenager, I don't know how to write books well. I don't have the experience, I don't have the education, I just don't know how to plot books as well as other writers. That has helped shape me because I looked at my books from like a further perspective. This was when I was still really getting into it, so I only just started telling people because I just started getting into it. And I looked at my books and I realized I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue. I just know I want to write a story. And later down the line, I started really looking at what books have and how books are structured. Like, how is the beginning different from the middle and different from the end? And so that comment that I don't have the education, that I don't know what I'm doing because I'm so young, that has helped me look at things and realize maybe I don't know what I'm doing because I'm so young, but because I'm so young, I also have an amazing capacity to learn things. And another thing I heard was that I don't take writing seriously because I'm a teenager. This has nothing to do with my age, and this was also a friend that said it, and I can understand why they said it because most teenagers I know, they don't like reading, they don't like writing, so having people that do like those things being their age is a little bit unfamiliar to them. Hearing that has helped shape me because I realized that writing is as much a hobby to me as my passion. The reason that I wake up excited in the morning, what I think about before I go to bed and what I think about when I wake up. That comment hurt me at first because I thought, you know, I shouldn't be writing just yet. I'm just a teenager. I can't write. I can't take it seriously. I understand where they were coming from, and now I understand my love for writing a lot more than I used to. The fourth question is, have the genres you write in changed? Why? They have changed drastically. If we're thinking about the time from when I was 8 years old, which that was a long time ago, almost a decade ago, I used to write picture books, children's fiction, mostly, I think the closest I can think of it being is comics. But if we're thinking about when I took my stories properly or professionally when I was 13, my genres were like romance, basically comedy, like rom-coms, YA, contemporary. Those were the main ones. If when I was 13 you suggested to me I should write dystopian, I would have cried at the stress of writing dystopian. I couldn't world build. I knew how to work with characters from my experience with making and drawing characters when I was little, but I could not for the life of me world build that much. And my genres have since changed because now, of course, I talk about it in like every video. I'm writing a dystopian trilogy and my genres have changed because of one simple thing, and that is I read more now. I've read more books now and I understand books and I understand world building and I just understand plot, I guess. And also my genres that I write changed because the books I like to read have changed. I started reading a lot more dystopian, a lot more science fiction, a lot more historical fiction, so now I lean towards writing those books more because I like them, so I obviously would like writing them. Question 5 is, how do you balance school and writing? This is a very difficult question because I don't always know the answer to that. This is very hard to answer because each day is different from the other. On the days that I have school, thankfully, because I only go to school twice a week, I only like have to do school twice a week and then I do online once a week occasionally, I have a lot of time at home. But back when I was still going to high school, so I was still having to go in 5 days a week, the way I would balance that is by spending obviously my school day doing school and then spending like a few hours after school doing homework or tasks or anything that I had to do, and then spending the rest of that time towards writing. So I'd make sure all my homework was done, all my tasks were done, so that I didn't have to think about that anymore and I could just focus on writing. And then on the weekends, if I didn't manage to finish the tasks, I'd spend Sundays doing my school tasks and Saturday doing my writing, whatever I wanted to do. Obviously, this sometimes changed. It feels like exam season in which my writing would slow down a little bit, and to which I will remind you, taking breaks are perfectly okay. You don't have to worry. Your characters are still going to be there for you when you're done with whatever you need to focus on. Question 6 is, what advice do you have for other teen writers? My advice would be, it's okay to suck. It really is. As someone who writes terribly, even after 4 years of proper writing, I can say that it's perfectly okay if you can't write an amazing draft, and just take your time with it, do your research on it, it's okay. Question 7 is, what is your most frustrating moment as a teen writer? I can say that one of the biggest thing that frustrates me being a teen writer is the stigma from it, because as I already mentioned, there aren't a lot of writers and writing isn't like a sought out skill, and there's even less teenagers doing this. So the most frustrating thing for me is having people thinking that like I'm not taking it seriously, that I don't know what I'm doing, which I don't, but that's a different point. Or just the judgment you get for being a teen writer. It's like really difficult to talk about sometimes to people if they don't understand, because they won't understand unless they're part of it or they understand the writing community, which a lot of the time the people throwing you judgment aren't a part of it. Question 8 is, do you believe in writer's block? If so, what is your solution for it? If not, what do you think is actually happening? I 100% believe in writer's block. As someone who has faced it before, I do think it's a thing. It's like I want to write. I know what I want to write. I just can't sit down and get the words out. For some reason, I just can't do it. My solution for this is really hard to determine because it really does change and just depend on how I'm feeling that day. But my biggest solution is to just give it a break. Maybe work on something else, like I sometimes like to do because other stories might have different inspiration, or to read in general, get inspired by the different stories that you read. I don't face writer's block as much as I used to because I have different projects, so once again, if I feel like I can't work on something, I switch, or I outline or re-outline because I might have done something a little bit wrong. But my solution is just take a break from it or do something else writing related, whether that be outlining, work on something else, or just reading in general. Question 9 is, how do you develop characters / plots? So normally the first thing that comes to my head when it comes to a story idea is a concept, like a what if question. And because it's a concept that comes to me first, it's plot that follows shortly after. I develop plot by adding questions on. So like, what if it was never night? And what if there was no police force, if that makes sense. So I add questions and I build up the world and I build up the scenario, and then from that I add in like a sort of plot you can insert into the story. So I develop the plot by adding more questions. Normally another thing I like to do is answering questions, like world building questions and plot questions. And then characters, this comes after the plot because I can find out what sort of characters are needed to fulfill this plot arc. And I develop characters by thinking of what would be interesting to have in such a plot, and then do the same thing with the characters where I ask questions about them, like, are they tall? Are they short? Do they have black hair? Do they have blonde hair? Question 10 is, how does your writing schedule conflict with school? I think I've mentioned this a little bit, but I'm a self-proclaimed morning person. I love being up in the morning. I love doing things in the morning, and though the majority of the time I don't start doing writing until like midday, early afternoon, if I can work in the morning, I know it's going to be a great writing day for me. And obviously, since school starts in the morning, that sort of conflicts with my schedule. So while being at school, all my productive hours are put to waste, and therefore I'm just sort of left like with the hours that I'd normally be relaxing by the time my writing day was over. 11 is, how do you keep up with your mental health while writing? If I feel stressed or like really anxious about something, because I do get really stressed easily, I do get anxious easily, I'm a very emotional person. I'm hypersensitive, I just can't help it. So if something gets to me, I will take a break from my stories, or sometimes I will release my feelings and my emotions into just a short paragraph and just get it out the way. I do take breaks quite a bit during like exam seasons because I'm hypersensitive and I get stressed very easily, so my stories do suffer a little bit. But if I had to balance mental health and writing, I'd give mental health the win. I would dedicate my time for mental health. A friendly reminder, please look after yourself. And finally, question 12. What is the most difficult element of writing for you? I would definitely have to say the most difficult element is when it comes to physically like writing scenes. I would have to say bringing up stakes, because I can write stale scenes all day long. I'm an expert. I can write stale scenes for the rest of my life and be perfectly okay. The high stakes scenes with all like, you know, the action packed things and all the mystery of, are they gonna get caught, things like that, those are the scenes I find difficult to write. But then if we're talking about the process as a whole, I would have to say the most difficult part for me is revisions. You're having to make that story better, even though, like me, I have no idea what to make it better. I know I'm missing stuff, but what am I missing? Why does this scene look awkward? Why are these characters there even though they're not useful, but then I can't take them out without causing a massive gap? It is really difficult for me. I haven't revised much books in my lifetime. I'm currently revising the second book I've ever revised, and I've been writing for 4 years. It's really difficult to revise. So that's it for the teen author tag. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Once again, This was a collab with Niki Rose. I suggest you check her out, watch her videos. I like to watch her videos even though I've watched them before. They're just the type of videos you can have on while you write, and it feels like you've got a friend to write with you, and she is one of the friendliest people in the world, so I definitely suggest you check her out. And she should also have her own version of this tag down below as well if you're interested in watching her take. Let me know what your answers would be for this. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I apologize for making a bunch of tag videos in a row. I just keep coming across different tags and had an idea for this tag and realized I had to do it. But anyway, yes, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!